Alright, welcome back. Um, Gonna finish explaining this. My camera cut out, ran out of storage space. But what I was basically saying is I took the whole bottom, this piece here, the whole bottom, and I cut it 2¼ inches off because I had 2½ inches here, but I wanted to leave a 1/4 inch between the wheels and stuff, so cut it 2¼ and if you look, you can see the welds going across there. And basically, I took this whole body and I welded it onto the piece that I cut off. So I took the piece that I cut off, slid it up, and welded it in. And it basically, what that did is it brought this whole body down lower. And now what I also did is then I took the foot pegs, which mounted up here originally. You see the holes. It's a little muddy and dirty because I was playing with it in the rain the other day. But I took I basically took the footrest and I lowered it down so that way I never had to cut these fenders, plus I still have the same amount of leg room, in space. It's not like my knees were all way up in the air and stuff. It's actually comfortable to drive. Plus it makes the bottom of the thing, it's also lowering the center of gravity, just that little bit of weight, and you can see I have it bolted on to where the mower deck used to mount, right up onto these flanges here. And if actually that's another thing you'd be looking at, what the hell is this thing in a way here? I actually have a whole frame built underneath this thing. There's a whole entire tube frame built all the way underneath there, up to the axle. You see that there? And it also mounts onto the frame itself. You can see my axle, my transaxle has this small leak in the seal, but it's not a big issue. For the shifter, I relocated that. I made a custom shifter, custom linkage, and that's how that works. So you see, when I move the shifter up ahead, I can shift it through any gear I want. It actually shifts real nicely, even when moving. There's the fuel line running from the bottom of the tank and up. So that's basically how I did that. Holds about a gallon. 6-speed transmission. I left it open differential. It's easier to go around turns and stuff. A lot of times when you lock the front end, the purpose of that front end pivoting is to keep both rear wheels on the ground. Well, sometimes you have more chances of one of the wheels breaking loose in the rear. I actually haven't had that issue. And I'm just gonna keep it as is. Oh, one other thing that you guys might all be thinking of right now: brakes. I do not have brakes on this thing. I will eventually. If you look in the rear, what I want to do, it's like I said, this is still a work in progress, but I want to actually make a brake rotor for there. Well, get a go-kart brake rotor, put it on the shaft here. You see how there's that little collar in there, and I want to actually get one that's slightly tapered. This is going to be hard to acquire. I'll mount the bracket on there and a caliper. That's my one option that I got. I do have the stock brake still on there. It's not hooked up. But I think the stock brake is plenty because I actually slow down you can slow down very fast by downshifting, and that's what I usually do. I slow down. I don't have any problem slowing down. And it's just once I'm usually at a slow speed, I still keep rolling. So if I put that little brake, if I just mount it onto the end of the clutch here, but then I have to also worry that I don't push in the clutch all the way too. because when I'm shifting, because then I'll apply the brakes. But that little brake can make me come to a complete stop. But yeah, I do rely mainly on downshifting, so I don't know if I really need a full brake setup. But I don't have much availability for the rear. I could put it on the one axle and then I gotta lock the rear. Or I could try to figure out something for the front end. But for now, I have no problem slowing down at all. With that transmission, I don't have to downshift like crazy or anything like that. Just uses belt tension and stuff like that to slow me down. So, yeah, I'm really not too worried about brakes as of now. But that's just my racing mower. I have a second one that I started like 2 years ago, and I never finished it. That was my senior project.